what's the lesser evil of it? If she will stop doing the capital gains thing, all of the small business people would follow her. I wish she could hear us. But, talking to people like that's like rare. You're not going to be able to do it. But anyway.
Yeah. So again, the point that I would make is that I think that you still are going to be fine, even if that does happen. I do think that's true. But the point that I would also make, I wouldn't worry about it getting passed, and also, like within the year that you'd be retiring. What year are you retiring? You said pretty soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's gonna be passed within a year or two?
I don't know.
That's pretty unlikely.
Right.
And then wouldn't it apply to the next?
I don't really want to vote for Trump, and I'll tell you why.
So Trump if you were to sell now, if you were to sell now, right, or sell before then, you wouldn't have to pay it.
Correct. Yeah, but it's just all about what it is.
So I don't really see why you would want to vote for Trump.
Well, it just depends, you get these presidents in there and they all have, their ways of making things the way they think they need to be. But, a lot of times they don't really think about people that have worked from when their whole life, working up to when they can retire. And then boom, you get this humongous,
They do. And again, the tax that you're referencing, I still don't think you're going to take it as income for the year, right? But I mean, even if you did, the point, it would be the case that you'd still be fine if you have multi-millions of dollars in that.
Yeah. Well, again, it's hard when, they sit there and everybody's like, oh, I hate business owners. Well, guys, let me tell you something. Without business owners, none of us go around. I mean, what are we all going to do?
They're not talking about you. They're talking about bad business owners that do not treat their employees well and that are greedy, okay, and that it's very prevalent. So don't just tell people, oh, it's we keep you afloat. Oh, there are hella people that are out there that are very greedy individuals, and that's why people have that particular association.
Well, right? So
if more business owners weren't like that, people wouldn't have that association. If people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk didn't go on calls bragging about how they to fire union members, right, who specifically go out and protest, we wouldn't have that association. If we had people that didn't try to cut wages and cut benefits, right, and not increase wages, right, and make sure that people are taken care of, right, we wouldn't have that issue. If we had paternity leaves, paid sick leave, paid vacation leave, like other countries do it in the or around the world, like in Europe, well, we probably wouldn't have that same type of association. So, I think you need to identify why in the U.S. do we have this association, but that same association doesn't exist in a bunch of other countries around the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, I get it, but I'd really like to, when you were talking earlier with that other gentleman on the taxes and stuff about the 1030, or you said 1099, I was like, okay, there isn't, 1099.
Yeah, I meant 1031, I apologize.
Yeah, it's 1031, but it is really only for real estate.
Is for it's for income tax.
Right. Anyway, but lots of people, you think about Kamala and Kamala, she's a millionaire. Definitely.
These will apply to them. And also Tim Walz, her VP, is actually the considered poorest candidate ever to run. Right, in the modern era.
Well, yeah, because he's a teacher, and we don't pay very well for teachers, which is about the most ridiculous.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, he might not actually be as poor as you might think, because he has pension plans.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff out there. But again, I just feel like,
What's up, Matt?
People should realize about these tax things because it does affect all of us. One of the other thing that I'll leave you with on, just thinking about, if your parents pass away and say they have a house that is now over 400,000, because the problem is most houses are in the United States, unless you live in different areas, but most homes, you can't even get one for less than $500,000. Where I live, and that's in the entire state. It's ridiculous. Everybody's it's been tough, so when the housing. So when you do that, if this goes into effect and they do they want to do the capital gains and they also want to do the inheritance tax. And that's not very great, especially if you live with your parents.
Oh, come on, inheritance tax? Yeah, okay, so inheritance tax for very high levels of wealth, I have no issue with, and I think it should be increased.
Okay, but what if your parents owned a house that was $400,000, right?
I'm not saying it should apply to a house of 400K. I'm saying tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's different. I mean, I'm talking about people.
And the inheritance tax, by definition, was introduced to stop the kind of perpetual wealth building that you saw from like the 1890s, like 1920s, where you had people like the Rockefellers who would give their children, in today's money, billions of dollars, right? Billions of tax-free money. And I think that's the point. That's the point.
Well, that's not me. I'm just a regular business owner, and I've built this thing to where it's at today. And again, that was my thing. It really did affect me because, you think about working 40 years, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're going to lose half of it when you sell your company. I think that's kind of terrible, honestly.
But also, let's look at it from another angle, right? I don't know what state you're in. Can you at least tell us, is your state like really blue or like really red?
All they're doing is changing it to the same income tax rates. So I just hope you know that. So it's like, if it's okay for income tax, like, I don't understand why it's not okay for this.
Yeah,
thank you so much for the subscription.
My overall question is, you're willing to, I understand your concerns, I'm not like downplaying them, but you're willing to sacrifice, it sounds like to me, your entire morality, your entire values, just for the money. Because if you're so opposed to a Donald Trump, right, and everything that he stands for, morally, on your values, on every policy except for economics, and yet you're willing to vote for that, I don't know how you gaining a little bit of money is going to be beneficial when 3 years down the line and Donald Trump has banned abortion. He has made it so that the rich, like the ultra rich, are paying less in taxes, that the poverty level has gone up, that
thank you so much.
He's best friends with Putin again, that the entire country of Ukraine is now under the yoke and a grip of a dictator. How all these things happen, and yet Ange is sitting on her porch saying, well, at least I got to keep my money. Right? I mean, do you understand how that sounds to us? Because I understand what you're saying, but when you think about the threat that Donald Trump is and all the possibilities that we might have in 4 years, will it really be worth it for you to have that extra money if the world around you and the people that you care about are in a much worse place?
That's a good point. No, it wouldn't matter because that doesn't matter. I mean, I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. It's just so frustrating because it'd be nice if we could get somebody that would at least, take middle ground. I mean, like Biden, he took the middle ground on it and it didn't pass. Like Parker, you said, it may not pass, and it may not pass. That's the whole thing. I was really disappointed when I saw that because I had 100% made up my mind about Harris. And then, dang, this came, and now I was like, well, that's not cool.
I view Democrats, when they talk about tax policy, the same way that when a Republican talks about like social issues on like certain things. When a Republican says to me, I'm going to protect GAY people, or I'm going to protect IVF, I don't believe them. Right? I think no, they're just pandering. Democrats and the Democratic Party, unfortunately, tends to favor the rich also, just not as much as the Republican Party. And I do not see in the House that we the Democrats will have a stranglehold on the House. It'll probably be by maybe like a seat of maybe 2 or 3 at most. And there are more than 5 Democrats that I can think of off the top of my head who are very, very pro-rich. They live in very rich neighborhoods. They represent rich clientele, and they're not going to let something like this pass. So that's why, as much as I would like it to pass, because I think it's a good idea for someone like me, I think it's very, very unlikely to pass. These are statements of values, not statements of what will happen.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't doubt that, and I've helped people my whole life. My career was in medicine, and I've helped people my whole life. And that's why, it is very difficult when you get to this age and you have a plan and then it gets derailed, and so that really is the basis behind it, honestly.
And also, too, talk about being pro small business. Tomorrow, in New Hampshire, Harris is going to introduce a new policy proposal that will give small business startups $25,000
$5. Thank you so much,
tax breaks to be able to start up their business. Right now, you only get, I think it's like $5,000 at most. She wants to increase that by $20,000. Donald Trump doesn't have a policy like that. Right? Donald Trump isn't like advocating for that. She is, right? And so, yes, you might be disappointed with this one policy, but I guarantee you, as with all policy, this will be negotiated and changed. And because Congress is so heavily moderated by those who represent the rich, I do not foresee this capital gains tax or these marginal tax rate changes to actually happen in the way that she's proposing right now. It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
And so,
Jeremiah, thank you for the $3. Thank you so much.
From your own perspective, but I think you need to possibly, and I mean this with like total respect, you need to look inward and think, am I willing to forego everything that I believe in simply for money? Because I do not believe, and I think that you will probably agree with this, that you're going to be destitute or you're going to be poor or you're going to be on the streets in 5 years or something. It just means that you'll have less money. And that's even if it passes, and that's if it passes within the same range that she is currently putting it into, which I think is highly unlikely.
Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't pass, because I know there's a lot of small business owners that do sell their companies and stuff. And even if it's, $500,000 for somebody that's worked for 40 years, that's not that much, you guys. And I mean, some of you guys are younger than us, but when you get to, close to 60, like I am, it matters to you, because you are aged. You can't work as long as you used to, and the hours and stuff like that.
And that's why we want Social Security for.
Right, exactly.
And Republicans are threatening Republicans are threatening Social Security and Medicare when it is the case that they are undermining things like immigration, right? When they're undermining things that are going to help out our ability to pay for that long term, right? And they cut taxes for rich people, like that undermines our ability to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Penny, by the way, I just followed you. You can message me. I'll give you my PayPal. I give it to some
dollars. Thank you, Dasha. I mean, and also too, I want to kind of put this in perspective. You're about ready to retire. I'm 32. Parker's 30. Parker is
crazy.
Yeah, I know. Parker is 22. Right? Mm-hmm. We had crises in our life where I can't even buy a house right now. Right? I make just enough money to where I'm living well, but the issues that are impacting me and will impact Parker are about how to build families, how to buy houses, how to do all the things to be able to build that wealth right now. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. Far too much of our public policy is geared towards the baby boomers who are going to retire, and not enough focus is on the Gen Xers and the millennials and the Gen Zs, those that are building this, because we cannot proceed the same way, which is why I think these tax policies, because unfortunately the baby boomers have had their cake right now. They have had their cake. They have lived through some of the best times in all of the U.S. history, and now we, the people in their 20s and 30s, are going through hard times, and we need a government that will advocate for us, because I want to be able, by the time I'm 40, to buy a house.
That's a good goal, for sure. I bought my first house when I was in my 40s, so that's
I know. Good. And see, my parents, who are baby boomers, bought their first house when they were in their late 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, the baby boomers had that. Like, I'm not a baby boomer.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm a Gen X, so.
Okay. Then you understand, though, why we are going to be the Gen Zs and the millennials will be the future of this country. We're going to outlive the baby boomers in like 10 years' time. We'll be the predominant age. And we want policy that's going to help strengthen our generations, because right now, especially we millennials like me, I have lived through crisis after crisis after crisis. I don't remember a time in the United States that was like peaceful, right? I don't remember the 90s because I was too young. All I remember is 9/11, war, 2008, a financial crisis, Trump, and then COVID. like, where amongst that time did I have like a big boom in my life, right? Unlike my parents, who lived through some of the best times in their life when they were making wealth, when they had strong unions, they had strong employment, they were they could buy a house for like a few $1,000s. I mean, and I don't want those people to be bitching and like about how hard it is, because they don't understand, because they had their cake and they want to eat it too. But now it's our turn.
No, I think it's important, that we all listen and understand each other, because honestly, we all have a lot to offer. And especially like you guys, I mean, I think about my kid, same things happened to her. She's lived through COVID and just constant change and stuff like that. And I get that. It's not been easy. I mean, I was in healthcare when COVID hit, and trust me, it wasn't easy, and I saw a lot of death.
$10.
It was tough, and I mean, I'm not saying that, the thing is, you guys, is that on all of these presidential candidates and stuff, it's so dang difficult, because it's just like the party passes that they do, like even these bills, they'll write some crazy thing in there. They're going to put $1 million towards watching a grasshopper go through a trail or something weird like that. I mean, I've seen the weirdest stuff in my day, and I hate that we have to do that kind of stuff to get things passed, but that's kind of the way it is, it's like, okay, we'll take these and put them together in one. And then, we out here just get to pay taxes still. And I don't mind paying taxes, you guys. I've paid them my whole life. However, there is a time and a place that, we need to flatten taxes out for everybody. I've always been a proponent that they should take and tax everybody at 10%, period, no matter what. So if you make $1 million, you're paying $100,000. Done.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So people who make $10,000, they should pay the same rate as someone making $1 million.
Well, okay, think about it like this. So when you have the wealth like Donald Trump and all those guys, think about Trump. He's bankrupt six times. Who do you think's paid for his bankruptcies? The American people. Truthfully, okay, putting it right out there. He bankrupt 6 times. The American people have paid for that. But he sits in his gold chairs, I get it. There are certain wealth that is ridiculous. But even if he didn't get a tax, see, these guys know how to get all the tax breaks, you see. They're smart. They know how to use the system. If everybody had a flat tax, and he had $1 billion, he'd have to put his taxes up every year on that money that he makes, and that would be fair. So if you make 10,000, there should be a break off. I don't think we should tax anybody that makes less than like $40,000, because I think kids need food and things like that. So there should be that flat, you don't pay taxes if you make less than this, but over that, everybody. Yeah. And then you have and then if everybody paid 10%, that'd be fine, and there would be no like write-offs.
I still don't think a 100K family should have to pay the same as a $1 million family. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it depends on, that's why I say it gets into the weeds too much, right? Because you think about children and what you need for a break for children, and my gosh,
especially like 100K in California is not the same as 100K in
oh, absolutely not. I mean,
state.
100K in California won't even last you half a year probably over there.
No, I think you can live on 100K in California. I just I don't think it's the same as 100K in a different state. Like 100K in Wyoming is a lot of money a year. 100K in California is like upper middle class, I'd probably say. For not for household income, but for personal income.
My final thing to like say to you, I mean, and I'll let you go, is honestly, I think I would highly recommend. I don't know what state you're in, but if you're in a swing state, just if, okay, and if you're not, then okay, then you're not. But if you're in a swing state, highly self-reflect and think if you can, with your values and with your morals, or not, you can live with yourself, knowing that 4 years from now, that if Donald Trump is reelected, that all the chaos he will bring and that he will rot, whether or not you can live with that, knowing that you at least made some more money. And I think you have to at least think about that because from all that you said, you oppose Donald Trump in so many ways, except for on this like whole tactic. And I want to know that if Donald Trump bans abortion, or if Donald Trump causes all of Ukraine to go into the toilet and now it's controlled by Putin, or if more Palestinians are killed because he lets Bibi Netanyahu just do whatever the fuck he wants, right? If that happens, can you live with yourself and say, well, at least I made more money and at least now I can retire, even though now instead of 40,000 Palestinians, now it's up to 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, and that's my point. Is
I don't
that
think we should have any wars. I think it's so bad. I wish people would quit doing that. Nobody deserves to die because they're always over religion or, wealth. And it's pretty much the two reasons everybody goes to war, and it's just sad. Like, we shouldn't be doing that.
It's sad, but only one candidate has a solution to it and actually wants to move to where both the state of Israel and the Palestinians have a brighter future to live in safety and in harmony. And that is not Donald Trump. Like it simply is not Donald Trump. And so, once again, I think you can make a list of all the policies and say, okay, here's Harris and here's Trump. And you would check off Harris on each one of those policies until you get to one tax policy, which is unlikely to go into effect anyway because the House is so damn divided that it's unlikely to go in no matter what because you need a 217 plus 1. So it's just unlikely to happen no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unlikely.
Because that's what my friends have been telling me, but then I was worried, because I'm just
Trump was lucky because he had a clear majority of 30 seats. Right now, they only have a majority of 2, and so now they can't pass shit.
Gotcha.
Right,
yeah,
and so that's not likely to change, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you guys, it's been a really good talk. I really appreciate it because it's super important to me to just I've been on listening to you for a long time, Parker, for many days because I was just sitting there thinking, gosh, this person's really good. It's going to be great. Kamala will come in and she'll come in and she'll make it good. And I think that, she was the right candidate and then that all happened. But again, I saw a few people saying, well, can you, really take Fox News for what it is? I don't know. I don't know if any of the news you can take for anything that it is, so I don't know.
I wouldn't even look at Fox News, to be totally honest. I would look at, like AP News. I would look at Reuters. I would look at NPR. All right. Those are the places I would typically look at. I wouldn't look at Fox News.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get friends that are Republican and they're always telling you, do this, do that, and I really can't even say anymore what politicians we should vote for. You really have to listen to each one of them and make a decision because I work with both in healthcare. I work with really good Republicans and really good Democrats, and there are really good people out there, you guys. There are. However,
who's undermining people's access to healthcare, though? It's Republicans.
Yeah, trust me. You know what? That's the biggest thing is if they take over and they privatize all of Medicare. We have some people that are, they call them freedom fighters, and they're wanting to do away with the Medicaid policies and stuff. And I'm just like, gosh, I mean, they're young, they don't understand sickness and stuff, and they want everybody in their own families to take care of people. And I'm like, well, what if you don't have any family left? Then what? Do you just lay on the street?
It's like they don't have anything for anyone, and that's like what we also are advocating for. Is we're saying Trump wants to repeal and replace the ACA, but what's his healthcare policy?
Yeah.
What is it? He's 9 years into running. I still don't know.
Once again, who is more likely to dismantle the current protections that we have? Like for example,
the $5.
Who's the only party or the only candidate who has tried to 70 some times dismantle the ACA, right? I mean, it's Trump, right? And I guarantee you he'll try again, even though he says he's not. I don't believe a word that's coming out of his mouth because he already tried. So I believe that he probably will again. And so that's the problem, right? That's the problem. And again, all I'm asking you to do is just think about, especially if you're in a swing state, think about who you're voting for, because I understand your concern. I'm not going to say that it's not valid, but you should consider, if you can think, live with yourself, like going farther down the line, and the world is, not the way that you want it to be, but at least you're doing okay. Because I know that I wouldn't be able to, because of the fact that I care so much about everybody around me, if abortion was banned nationwide, and I voted for Donald Trump because I got like more money in my pocket, I would feel bad. Like, I don't know about you, but I would feel bad of myself because unless I have no morality, then I don't know how I wouldn't feel bad.
Mm-hmm. As a healthcare professional for 34 years, I've been in healthcare for 40 years. I worked as a CNA till I became a healthcare professional. They should not ban abortion, and I'll tell you why. That is between the healthcare person and yourself. That is absolutely right.
One candidate might want to do that. I mean, yep. And he'll put people in power who will do that, and so that's why we have to say. And thank you for the $50. Thank you, man, for that. I appreciate you so much. So that's the problem. Is that I think how you want to
Jennifer,
vote.
Thank you for the $5. Thank you, Jennifer.
It's holding you up, and I would highly recommend that you speak to somebody who might be able to use the current tax system to your advantage, because I think you want to vote this way. It's just that you have some concerns, and if anything that I said here tonight, the most important thing is it is highly unlikely, and I mean very unlikely, that the policy that she's proposing right now will be passed in the House and the Senate. It's just very unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Diana,
I thought about, that's why I got on tonight, because I really needed some help, because here I am thinking, Harris is the way for me, and then all that happened, and I'm like, geez, is that really the way? So that's why I was like, okay, I guess maybe I do need to look at Trump and vote for Trump, So it was good to come on tonight and talk, because here's the thing, guys, as all of us as United States citizens, if we don't work together to have the people in, politics work for us, it doesn't work. I mean, when we come together as people, as with heart, and talk about the real issues that we have as humans out here, and look, everybody that's in politics that is at that level are multimillionaires, okay? Except for maybe this gentleman that's joining, this Tim Walz, okay? Everybody else, they have a lot of money, and so it may not really matter to them. But I'm telling you, I'm the only person in my family that could even go to college. I am from very, 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 minimal wealth in my family. Okay, so it's super important for me to share some of the things that are real to people out here. And again, when you've worked all these years, you built a business, and when you're going to go retire, and you think about, oh my gosh, I had this plan, and then boom, it's gone. It means something to people,
No, and I understand
Blake,
that.
thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much, Blake.
I just think that what's happening is you. I don't think that you're understanding, though, the wider range of consequences, right? Because I understand what you're talking about. It's that I just want you to understand that if you're in a swing state, and again, I'm assuming that you are. I'm gonna just assume you are. But if you're in a swing state and you vote. And Bridget, I'm totally calm. I have a stutter. Calm down. All right, I'm fine. If you're in a swing state, and if you are going to vote for Donald Trump, you may help swing the election to Donald Trump. And then once again, I don't want you to look at yourself 4 years from now and say, "Oh, I'm more money in my pocket," but at the same time, all this shit around me is going to hell in a handbasket. Right. Mm-hmm. That's the point, because I would hope that you would at least understand how that would be a bad thing.
I do. And you know what's so important to me as a female is voting, because, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, white women could vote in 1920, right? And then black women could vote in 1965, right? 2 years before I was born, the black women could vote. I mean, how ridiculous. I mean, if you think about some of the stuff that's happened in the past, really, I mean, it's very ignorant, right? But I mean, my grandma was one of the first women that could vote, okay? And she always told me, you've got to vote. And so that's why it's important to me to get on tonight and really talk about, okay, here's what it is. And there's issues on both sides. But again, I understand there is absolutely zero reason that we should be controlling women. Period. I mean, that just irritates me to death.
Think about what you or how you vote, and just think about it, and maybe think hard and everything. And I hope that if you do vote Trump, that you're not in one of those swing states, and that that things just will. But I've said my piece, so I'll let you go, and you can
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate your time, because it is really important to me that everybody listening tonight hears that we are normal, and there are normal people out there just trying to make a decision.
I agree. All right. Well, thanks for talking.
Thank you. All right, Parker. Thank you. I appreciate it, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. I think I am going to get off here for tonight. I might just go join
1 second.
before my girlfriend.
I want to say something real quick. Hold on just 1 second. I want to do a public announcement. Let me turn my camera on real quick.
All right. Also, everyone, literally everyone, big stuff coming out literally this week. Matt, I'm going to text you.
Oh, this week? Okay. Nice.
I think it's here. I'll tell you this day might be it. That might be the day.
Okay. All right. Nice. Cool. That's cool. It's gonna be big. I'm looking forward to it.
Either that or that. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the first one though.
Okay. All right. I mean,
no. The second one is it's not that one. It's this one. That's the second one.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a good time. I mean, it's soon. It's soon. Okay. I want to make an announcement for everybody, because I see even supporters saying that, and this is to Bridget, and I didn't mean to yell at you, Bridget, or anything, but I want to give you an idea of what's happening. When people see me, they don't see my face, so you don't see what's happening. When I pause, or when I am stammering, or when I have blocks, okay, that's what it's called. It's called a block. And what you'll see, let me turn off the display. What you'll see, my throat will freeze, okay? My throat, and I get tension, and I freeze. And I do this, I go, like that, okay? I freeze. So what's happening is I'm calm, I'm breathing fine, but my entire body will tense up, and I will freeze. So anytime you hear that, I guarantee you I'm calm, I'm collected, I'm not elevated. It's that literally my throat is frozen in place. Yeah, exactly. My throat is frozen in place. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, and so please don't tell me to calm down, because I guarantee you I am calm. If I wasn't calm, my voice would be highly elevated, and I'd be yelling. But
also we acknowledge when we're not there.
I know.
We don't have an issue with doing that, because the people that come on our live are literally insane. They are. They're actually insane people.
And most people, I understand. It's people who don't understand it, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. I'm explaining it for people who need to know. If you hear me talk and you hear pauses, or it sounds like I'm trying to catch my breath or something, it's because literally my body won't let the voice out. Okay, so that's what's happening. Okay, so don't freak out or anything. That's what's happening. Thank you all. Okay, thank you, Parker. Have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
Have a good night, man.
Okay. Bye.
All right, everyone. Let's send everyone over to Harry's live. I'll probably join him for a second before I do get going. I'm probably going to be going here really soon, but we'll send everyone over to Harry. Look up Harry J. Sisson. Spam Parker Raid, spam Luffin Parker. Harry J. Sisson, spam Parker Raid, spam Luffin Parker. I love y'all so much. Everyone go there right now. Harry J. Sisson, spam Raid, Shade Raid Parker, Parker Raid, Raid Parker, Parker Raid, or Parker Raid. All right, I'll see you in a second.
Oh no.